Nigerian author Chinua Achebe once said, "Until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter." This is the Producers Lounge podcast, the best podcast online for tips and tricks on producing great film, television, and web content. Welcome back for Season 3, Episode 22, hosted and produced by greaterandgrander.com. On this week's episode, we're chatting with Ebi Ikuku, who has produced independent shorts and web content, including her independent pilot, Rookie. We discuss surviving Hollywood and presenting the best version of yourself, and how people's prejudices inform their perceptions of you. I loved having dinner with Ebi because we got to talk frankly and honestly about the entertainment industry, both about our successes and our frustrations. And I should be clear that after talking with Ebi, when she talks about how to scam the scammers, she's speaking metaphorically. Here now is my conversation with Ebi Ikuku.
Yes. Have a seat.
Watch. This is what you meant by the West patio.
Yes.
They were confused, and I'm like, I don't know. He said he saved the seat, so.
Yeah, they know me here and for all the wrong reasons. Yeah.
Do people usually eat? Because I listened to the podcast, but most people were like just drinking. I didn't really hear.
Oh, I cut out all the.
You do?
Yeah, all of the dead
It's
space.
so irritating. I didn't hear, like the chewing,
Oh yeah, I cut that out. Yeah.
so I'm fine too.
You're fine. Yeah. I'll work around it. I usually edit this, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How did you guys find? I'm so honored just seeing the people that you've interviewed on that platform.
Thank you.
It caught me off guard, I have to be honest.
Okay.
I can be very humble, and sometimes I can be cocky as well. Cocky as like any other person, but you know, I
It's okay.
but that informed by like truth, you know, and so when I was like, what? You know, there was the AB, or Humanity release, the general statement pre-COVID, and then there's post-pandemic filmmaker existing in LA. I was way more confident, like pre-pandemic. So yeah,
I think we all were. Yeah. And more socially amiable too.
Right. So that I can promote it as well. Like if there's a way to like have a clip so I can cut it into chunks and then put some pictures over it and promote on IG Reel. I'm very into stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Instagram, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, YouTube rolled out this new thing where you can like double post a video across 2 accounts. I'm not exactly sure how it works. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow! Finally.
Yeah. So like, whenever I figure out how exactly that works, we'll be doing that as well.
Oh, that is so amazing. Yeah, well done. You've been posting since 2016, the email said.
Yes. The website has been up since 2016, but actually I started this podcast in 2012.
What?
Yeah. Well, to be clear, this is only the 3rd season since 2012. So
It does, but. Okay, you've been working.
I've been working.
Here's a menu for you.
Oh, thank you.
Even though you said they know you here, so you prep.
Yeah.
No surprises.
Yeah, I usually get like one of like 3 or 4 things here, and it's generally the least healthy things they have. So, but yeah, they have great food here, honestly. So, can't recommend it enough. So
definitely takes away the pressure, and encourages someone to just show up as they are. You know.
Exactly.
What are you going to be getting? You said you always get something rather unhealthy. I'm curious.
Yes, I should be eating a healthy salad. Currently, though, they have this really great chocolate mousse cake with ice cream on top, and
Please don't satisfy me. Yes.
I might go with Andrea's fave. Yeah, that's a salad. Yeah.
I see.
And supposedly, like, if you eat chicken, it's better for the environment compared to eating beef.
Really?
That's what
They say?
That's what they say, you know, but...
Who even knows what to believe anymore these days?
Exactly.
Who even knows?
There was this big ad campaign back in the 70s and 80s where they talking about how healthy pork is and how it's like the new white meat and all that, and...
Didn't last long, did it?
No.
Just PR.
Exactly.
Okay. Do I have to decide? I probably have to decide before we start filming, before we start talking, because I observe that sometimes the waiters come in between takes, like while rolling.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. one of my favorite episodes was, do you know who Groucho Marx is? Because you didn't grow up in the U.S., so I'm wondering.
I didn't
Okay.
grow up in the U.S. and thanks for acknowledging that because people just assume, and even when you sometimes say you're not from the U.S., they still expect you to have watched every single like sitcom or movie. I still have those experiences where I feel out of place in many rooms because I'm not able to contribute to the conversation, not for a lack of interest, but simply because I just don't know. But I have to also accept that I'm never gonna know every single director or filmmaker. But to your point, you were making a point. Do I know?
Well, I was basically asking that, and Groucho Marx is a comedian actually from the 1930s and 40s in the U.S., and I actually was able to interview one of the people who was one of his assistants before he died, and then went on to writing and producing. And it was great because he would joke with the waiters whenever they were coming over. I don't know if you heard that episode.
No, I did not. But trust me, your podcast might be one of my favorite podcasts. And I'm not saying that to like, boost your ego or anything. What I really admire about the podcast is that every episode is different. It's completely different. And you talk to people within the industry, but different departments. It's good for us to have like a wide variety of the...
Yeah, and that's kind of intentional because like this, as I'm sure you've seen, this industry is so quick to pigeonhole. You're an actor. You're not just only an actor, but you're only an actor for commercials. Or for animation voice.
Yes. We're only going to cast you in horror movies. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Typecasting and everything. This is a Brazilian restaurant, so they should have plantains.
Oh, they definitely have.
I'm obsessed with plantains. I just don't know what to eat it with now. Maybe the waiters can help us. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a side. See, fried plantain.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what I should do. I guess I can get like a salad and plantains on the side.
Okay. Awesome.
So I'll go for your suggestion, which Alexander's steak. Or maybe the more basic Andrea's fave. With plantains on the side.
There you go.
Okay, perfect.
And back to, as you were saying, you grew up in Nigeria.
Yes, I grew up in Nigeria. I was born and raised in a small town called Warri in southern Nigeria.
Nice.
Yes.
Not Kenya, not South Africa, as you joked in your one...
My pilot? Rookie? Oh, man. That literally is my life story. Of course, certain details were changed to make it more dramatic, but yeah, the cultural shock of it all when you arrive here at 21 alone to pursue your dreams in filmmaking and having been sheltered by my parents, my very traditional and conservative African parents. It certainly was a fish out of water story that I had to tell, and I hope to still tell because I came really close to selling that pilot.
Oh, wow.
But unfortunately, this was a couple months before the pandemic. So the pandemic was a factor, but really what had happened was, I think I was maybe 24, 25 at the time. So I was still young. And though I had graduated from film school can only teach you so much. There's a whole nother level of education in the outside world.
Yes.
once you step out of those like four walls of film school,
Yeah.
And so another thing really was my lawyer screwed me over. That's what happened there.
Your lawyer screwed you over?
Yes. He convinced me to sign a contract that basically it was so terrible. This is pre-ChatGPT. So I'd hired this lawyer and I met him at the American Film Market, I believe it was, in Santa Monica. I believe sometime in 2018. So for a year, he had joined me to push my project Rookie. And we got close to selling it because someone had shown interest who was a development executive yes.
Yeah.
And that was the person who had drafted a contract, and my lawyer okayed the contract, and I signed it. But then I later realized that they didn't even list me as the owner of the intellectual property, though I had registered it. It was just like a complete insult, Like, I know it's part of the game, but come on, you can't own my story. It's my story.
Oh, yeah. There have been I've been in this industry for 20 years now, and there are so many this is not hyperbole when I say this. They're literally like scumbags, and they just want to gobble up content and whatever they can get so that they can utilize it and then move on to the next one like a parasite. And it's very unfortunate. And in fact, I directed my first feature last year.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
Yes.
That's huge.
And thank you. And I'm very happy with how it came out.
Wow.
Yes. And basically I am prepping for that, but we did the festival run earlier this year. And basically I got 2 different distribution offers. Hold on. 2 different distribution offers from the same company. And they were both no money up front. We're going to lock up the film for 20 to 30 years, and we have to make back $50,000 in marketing costs before we actually pay you any cut.
What kind of a deal is that?
It's a shit deal that people
would offer, even in the year 2024 or 2025.
Yes.
But the real lesson I learned from that experience, besides the obvious, is this. One of the reasons why I had hired my lawyer, honestly, besides the fact that we got along, was because he was a black male.
Okay.
And I just felt like I'm an African woman who is obviously black. And I just felt like I would feel safer with someone who perhaps looked like me on the exterior. But he was so quick to screw me over. And I think that was a very important lesson for me to learn, because I think it was Martin Luther King who said it. We shouldn't judge people by the color of their skin, but rather by the contents of their character.
Yeah.
So that was that statement really like making an appearance in reality to say, hire people for who they are.
Yeah. There was a shout, speaking to your point, and how quickly your lawyer screwed you over. Out of curiosity, and we won't mention the lawyer because we don't want to open up any kind of libel, but basically, like, do you feel your lawyer had a pre-existing relationship with this company, or do you think they were just incompetent?
What it really was is that I hired a lawyer who also has an interest in producing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so his main goal or interest wasn't just helping me get my story into the room. His goal was, okay, Ebi is going to pay me.
Yeah.
But then how can I exploit her project in a way that benefits me beyond my lawyer fee? And that's really what happened there. There was a conflict of interest. You don't hire a lawyer who also has a passion for producing content with his own company.
Yeah.
So, speaking of wearing multiple hats.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Oh, man. I mean, the pandemic happened a couple months later. I was like, oh, my gosh. What it really reinstated to me is like, this is a strong story.
Yeah.
If it's not worth stealing, it wouldn't be stolen.
And just for our audience, what is... and I apologize, is it pronounced Rookie or Rookie?
Rookie.
Rookie.
Yes. It's spelled like R-U-K-K-Y. It's an actual name, which is a Nigerian name, but I chose that name because it's sort of a play on words with the actual word rookie, like the American colloquial term, someone who is new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why I chose that title. It's a coming-of-age story about an 18-year-old Nigerian heiress who comes to Los Angeles to study photography, but she crashes headfirst into a search for independence at a global level. Some similarities I share with Rookie. Just like Rookie on arrival, I came to Los Angeles a virgin. It's something that I'm proud to share because of my cultural background and the reason behind that choice. I was a virgin till I was 24. I was living in England before moving to LA, so that was another switch I had to make because the moment I landed here, I didn't understand why when I would order like a cup of water, people would keep asking me to repeat myself until I say water. You know?
Right. Okay.
So every country or city I move to, I often feel like I have to lose a side of myself to blend in a little more.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it's a whole thing.
There is kind of that constant state of judgment. Like you spoke of AFM in 2019. I'm actually planning to go to AFM next month. And I spoke with someone who is very knowledgeable, used to run a distribution company, now works in finance. And basically he said, like, you have to go in dressing the part, wearing your nicest clothes, fit shine shoes and all that, just so they can judge you instantly that you're playing at their lover. And it's such a constant state of like image before substance, it feels like.
You mean the entire industry?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a constant struggle for the artist. Like, how do I show up?
Yeah.
And is the way I show up, is it enough? But I've learned, what I've really learned, to your point, is that we just have to accept certain things for what they are.
Yes.
I always say that life is a game, or life is a scam, so you must scam life before life scams you. Because come on, life is a scam.
Yeah.
God made everything free. We're paying for everything. The only thing we're literally not paying for is like air at this point.
Yeah.
Assuming we're already not paying for it.
Actually, you're closer than you think, because I also have consulting clients. I'm very involved in the tech world. And so one of the things that's coming down the pipeline is, I'm sure you've heard of software as a service, where you don't buy Adobe, you pay a monthly fee for it.
Yes.
They're going to start coming out with hardware as a service. So they're starting it with like industrial things, but you're going to have to pay a there are currently farmers who are paying subscriptions for John Deere and for their tractors. And it's going to start rolling out more and more hardware as a service, where we might be paying subscriptions for our car in the next couple of years.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not.
After purchasing the vehicle,
Yeah.
paying your monthly insurance, you may still have to. To my point, life is a scam. So you've got to scam life before life scams you. And one thing I quickly learned about existing in Los Angeles is that you have to identify your strong points. Because most people tend to focus on their unique disadvantages.
Yeah.
As opposed to their unique advantages.
Yes.
So what are some advantages? Okay, I exist in a city, not that Los Angeles is predominantly superficial.
Yes.
It's an industry. There is an industry here that is active, that attracts generally some superficial people, and somehow it's become labeled as that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so how can I get what I want out of Hollywood, knowing that Hollywood is also big on taking from me?
Yes.
Number one, I observed when I moved here that people were more attuned to me because of how I speak. When I lived in England as a teenager, I happened to pick up an accent along the way. People sort of struggled with putting me in a box when they would meet me. You're Nigerian. Oh my God, you don't look poor. I was like, you know, like,
Yeah.
why do you have a British accent? So curiosity is one way to get in the door. Another thing I observed is that appearance is such a big thing.
Yes.
They would literally overlook someone who shows up simple, but with so much, and give an opportunity to someone just because they see it as one person put in an effort and the other did not, as opposed to these two people present themselves in different ways. So I've learned, okay, one way to be remembered is through fashion. So there it goes. It's not that I didn't always have a passion for fashion. In London, people were always overdressed. It's one of those cities like New York, unlike here where you have people wearing more sweatpants or whatever.
You are so right about that. And one of the things, actually, I was very fortunate that when I was 17, I came out to do a summer program at USC before I wound up going to film school. And I had lunch with the instructor of the program, a guy named Don Zerpola. He was a producer. He had produced stuff literally all around the world, Hong Kong, LA, New York, etc. And one of the things he told me was people in this town in Hollywood, they have major FOMO. They're insecure, right?
Yeah,
So
we can factor it.
making them believe that they're missing out on something. Huh? Yeah.
I'm just mouthing what you're saying, but yes. Oh, you're preaching.
Yeah. So the idea of like creating something, that you're creating something that people are missing out on, And I think actually something that your mentor, Ava DuVernay, has done very well with the Array screening series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Array releasing when she has screenings. Oh, yes, she launched a new film festival, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yes. She's amazing. How I got to connect with her, obviously everybody knows Ava, especially if you live in the US. But really, it was around the time when I was shooting, we were doing the pre-production for Rookie, and I was at a cafe just working on my own when I got to talking with this man, and he told me, it gave me a brief history about his dealings in the entertainment industry. And then I shared my passions and what I was doing. And he's like, Ava is looking for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, she's looking for you. I'm like, what's her address? Do you know where she lives? Like, I'm looking for her too. He's like, she's very big on helping underrepresented voices. Even her television shows, whether it's Queen Sugar or her limited series When They See Us. Queen Sugar specifically, she happened to launch a lot of women's directing careers through that platform. And she definitely also has I love that she's passionate. She has a strong passion for film. She has a strong passion for justice. And she is unabashedly pro-Black. Like, she's very, like, I love my people. And in this world that we live in, to me, I guess that's why they call her an activist. But I think anyone who doesn't create from a space of ego is an activist. Anyone that challenges the norm is an activist.
That's a great way to look at it. So this man approached you at a cafe, said, Ava DuVernay's
looking for you.
And how did he facilitate the introduction?
No, he did not. He did not. But I think that's why, to me, film, Los Angeles, everything is informed by both the physical and the spiritual. I think that was more like a nudging from the spirits that was being manifested in the physical. It really, I think of it as God put that man on my path. One, to confirm that I am on the right path. And secondly, to sort of point me in the right direction, because there are countless people in this town that I can emulate or look up to or for inspiration or reach out to for assistance. But there's something about Ava. I don't know if it's because her name starts with an A. I just see her as a leader. I've never seen any messy tabloid topics about her. She's very on business. She knows how to separate her personal from business, which is something that a lot of people in this town struggle with.
Yes.
She's someone that I aspire to be like in certain ways, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, like, her background coming from publicity and PR definitely lends to that.
Now, that's the thing. We're not on a phone call basis yet.
Oh,
yes. I
believe you referred to her as your mentor. And
Yes. No. There are different forms of mentorship. Some of my mentors are dead.
Okay.
I don't think that you have to have that sort of relationship with someone for them to be your mentor. We do communicate sometimes via social media, like DMs, or she'll send me an email to my production company email saying, keep going. So I think that people like that are very important because it's kind of, I liken it to being stuck in a dark maze. And people echo to you, don't worry, there's light at the end of this tunnel, just keep going. Some of these people have torch lights. They can quite literally just point you in the right path to keep exploring.
Right. Okay.
She's one of those people for me. She's been a light is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
Like, keep going. Yes.
All right.
That means way more to me because I've sent countless emails to people. You know, you get ignored.
Thank you so much.
Or if they respond, nothing comes out of it.
Yes.
So my relationship with Ava, it's certainly still evolving.
Okay.
I know a lot of people that are also trying to get her attention. There is only one Ava. Another person I'm very inspired by is Issa Rae, just the trajectory of her career, how she started on YouTube, her web series. She did 3 web series actually before she ended up launching Insecure HBO. But it's also just one Issa.
Yes.
We go to networking events and me and my friends. Even Issa Rae, she has this statement that she says all the time, which I believe she got from one of her collaborators called Enya Niobe. And she says, it's more important to network horizontally than networking vertically.
Yes.
Because everyone is trying to reach the people at the top.
That's true.
Like, you're ignoring the people right in front of you who are rising to the top.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about, you brought up something very good about how to scam Hollywood so you don't get scammed by it.
It's a world global phenomenon. We're just in Hollywood, but yeah.
So tell me, what are some of please, by the way, eat plantains.
Please have some. It's for us.
I actually don't like plantains.
You don't like plantains?
I don't like plantains.
You're the first person I've ever met that doesn't like plantains. I actually have a thing. I don't trust people that don't like plantains, so this is hilarious.
Well, look, here's the thing. If your trust system is based on foods that people like, I am a terribly picky eater.
Okay.
So
Okay, you're a man of choice. You like to exercise your need for choice. I get it.
that's one way of saying it. Yes. So basically, I've actually been, because similar to you, I thought like, oh, I'm going to go to USC, graduate from USC Film School, and I'm going to, get the best internships, and I'm going to get the best jobs, and I'm going to join the Producers Guild, and that's going to lead to a bunch of jobs. And the truth is, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And I found time and time again, like, yes, you get that option, but you basically get one shot. And unless you have unless you have something in your back pocket that is worthwhile for that person at that time, for them to essentially, one might say, take advantage of you, but also, show that you are of value to them, show that you're bringing something to the table, that one shot is not going to go anywhere. And I cannot tell you how many meetings I've had over the last 20 years where I get in, I have a meeting, it's a great meeting, it's very cordial, but I don't have a source of money for them to jump on. And so as a result, that connection goes stale, and then after a couple of years, they move to a different company, or they just quit the industry. That's the other weird thing, is like, I would say during the 2008 recession, in the strike that happened then, half of my contacts just disappeared. They just quit Hollywood and left, and they went into finance, or they moved to San Diego, or what have you. And I'm seeing that happen again now after the pandemic and the strike. In fact, in a lot of my contacts, once the pandemic happened, they went and they moved to Minnesota, where it was cheaper to live, and they're doing online classes for like the University of New Zealand, because it's such a interconnected world now.
I see.
And so now I'm basically taking several strategies to scam the scammers. So
it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they do it, they call it taxes. When we do it, they say we're scammers.
Yes. So with that being said, what are some of your favorite scams you're carrying on in Hollywood, or against the government, if you like?
I can talk about the journey, but honestly, I kind of mentioned it a few minutes ago, when I brought up the statement of one quote I live by, I would say, is the fact that life is a scam. So we must scam life before life scams us. That's what led us to this conversation. And in the ways that I scam life, it generally has to do more with thinking outside the box, or to do more with my presence, or one way, I'm not going to lie, is my accent.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I'm one of those, it's easy for me to pick up an accent. When I moved to LA, 2-3 months in, my friends actually started to tell me, Ebi, you're starting to get a bit of a Valley girl accent. And so I didn't want that accent. So I became very intentional with how I speak. And I see how sometimes my accent, because my blackness, unfortunately, sometimes people don't know how to receive it. And I have had encounters where a racist person approaches me, and then they hear how I speak, and they're so thrown off that they forget what they were going to say to me, and they're just so consumed by this alien, apparently, because they've never traveled out of their cities or states to see that black people live in London too. I'm not like this. Yeah, they're just startled, whoa. I'll give you an example. I was once because I do side gigs sometimes to pay the bills, whether it's dog walking or delivery or whatever, when I'm not doing production gigs,
Yeah.
And I once walked past a man's house and his door was open. I walked past the house. I wasn't going to go in. But for some reason, he jumps and he comes after me and he's like, what were you doing? I was like, I beg your pardon. I literally was like, I beg your pardon. And he was like, oh, you have an accent. Oh, are you English? Wow. He damn near walked me to my car. I'm like, wow.
He went from confrontational to flirting with you.
To flirting with me because I didn't sound like how he expected a Black American to sound, which is a whole thing to uncover.
Yeah.
A whole, that can be another episode that we can talk about. But that is just one way I've learned, okay, if I'm perceived this way, maybe I should show up this way to throw people off. Or I feel as though, these days, I don't necessarily have to scam Hollywood, really, because my focus isn't too much on Hollywood anymore. You said something very, important not too long ago. You said that, I don't remember who had given you that tip, but it's important to find a way to sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are very big on FOMO in this city.
Absolutely.
So if you're able to convince them, especially if there's an ecosystem you've created, or this filmmaker who shoots cool content online, who also has this book, they're going to want to tap in.
Yes.
Because in LA, there's this culture of, how can you help me?
Yes, absolutely.
I was in London. I went to see some friends in 2023. And so I was there for 2 months. I was networking with artists, people who were like having like
Lovely.
arts galleries, like the art was at art galleries, or musicians and actors. And over there in London, there was this attitude of, how can we help you?
Oh, my goodness.
It wasn't like, how many followers do you have before following me back? It wasn't,
Oh, yeah.
do you know Spike Lee before having a chat? Those are some things I hope can change here.
I want to think that that's an exaggeration, but knowing what I know about Hollywood, there are probably a couple of people who asked if you know Spike.
No one has asked me that in particular.
Hey everyone, quick break here. If you listen to the Producers Lounge podcast, you know I'm obsessed with how stories get made and who gets to make them. That's why I wrote Threads of Imagination, a book about collaborative storytelling and the art of building worlds together. Published by DSTL Arts nonprofit, which supports young BIPOC artists, the book pulls from my own personal history and even from my family history and the tradition of itinerant tribes telling stories around the campfire. Threads of Imagination is a guide to collaborative storytelling and how ideas grow, evolve, and become something bigger when people create together. Whether you're a filmmaker, writer, artist, or just someone who loves the process behind good stories, this book gives you practical tools, creative prompts, and real-world insights to elevate your craft. That's right, Threads of Imagination is full of exercises, behind-the-scenes lessons, and inspiration to help you create with purpose and community. If you're looking to jumpstart your next project or sharpen your storytelling instincts, this is the place to go. You can find Threads of Imagination wherever books are sold online. All right, back to the Producers Lounge podcast.
No one has asked me that in particular. Maybe they have more tact than that. What other way? I just think these days very big picture, because I've seen Hollywood steal people's lives quite literally. You know, you come here, you pursue this dream, 5 years, 10, 20, sometimes 30 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people don't know when to stop.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people don't know when to make adjustments to that journey, but because they're so fixated on the goal, they don't realize that certain steps need to be adjusted. You may have come here to become an actor, but maybe as the time goes by, you realize that you have a passion for producing. So some people are strong-headed in that way. I'm Nigerian, as I mentioned, and so my country's film industry, fancifully known as Nollywood, so Hollywood with an N,
Right.
it's the third largest film industry in the world.
Right.
So I've never come to Hollywood from a place of lack. My intention was to always come here to learn from the best of the best and go back home and teach and expand what we already have going on. Idris Elba, for example, is someone who is also passionate about that cause. He's actively trying to raise funds and collaborating with certain presidents across the African continent to see how we can build more film studios and more movie theaters, because storytelling has always been a core part of existence in Africa. Storytelling, period.
Yes.
Regardless of the medium. So
I agree 100%. And please. Also last year, I was very fortunate that I was able to write a book, and it was published by a nonprofit called DSTL Arts.
well done.
Thank you. And one of the things I wanted to focus on was my own culture's heritage of itinerant tribes and storytelling. I am not Romani, but I'm multiracial, and on my mom's side is Turkish and other Eastern European itinerant tribes, and storytelling was always a core function of that as well.
Right.
And in many ways, and I think I actually found a link here that I would like to publish it in a paper one day, which is looking at how itinerant tribes starting in the Romani regions of India, and then looking at how they kind of morphed into other archetypes throughout the land as these tribes moved eastward or westward and then moved into Europe. And basically the Indian, I forget what it's called, the Valkala or Val something.
Val something.
Exactly. But you can track it through time as it's literally like evolving at the same way the Romani tribes are moving through these areas and adjusting it. And literally you go from this bat-like, demon archetype into when it gets to Transylvania and it becomes Strigoi and vampires. And so literally without itinerant tribes and storytelling, you don't get Dracula.
Wow.
From that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's the origin story.
I believe so.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hollywood for me, it's too niche.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely, like again, I'll repeat it, life is a scam. So you must scam life before life scams you. Even in relationships, if you're not careful, you're gonna marry someone whose entire reason behind why they married you is a scam. Like what they can gain from you, and then when that's gained, they're out.
Yes.
So,
and women especially need to be on the lookout because you could meet up with someone who thinks, "Oh, she's hot," and then before you know it, you've somehow talked yourself into marrying this person who doesn't care about you.
right. Oh my gosh. Now imagine that level of imbalance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love him. She's hot. It's not gonna last.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly been a journey, like
Yeah.
arriving here 2015,
Mm-hmm.
doing the MFA thing for 2 years,
Yeah.
because it's one thing to pursue your dreams. It's another to be doing that whilst actively trying to stay in a country legally. And this is why the immigrant story is so important. I haven't seen those stories being reflected on the big screen or
Yeah.
like at all. Case in point, I was talking to someone yesterday. She's freaking out because her visa is going to expire in a couple months. She's mourning her father who died recently, and she can't make it to the funeral because of her papers. I know too many of these stories.
Yeah.
I know too many of these stories.
That's heartbreaking.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's interesting that I'm doing this podcast now because I've been reflecting on a bunch of things. For example, I've been reflecting very much on the term, the American dream. In the year 2025, is that still in existence? Is that still a thing? Is that still worth leaving your family behind in Nigeria or Japan to move to the US for 7, 8, 10 years? Dealing with all the everything that comes with it. And then you accomplish the goal that you set out to accomplish, and you look back.
Yeah.
And so many people aren't even there anymore, whether it's grandparents. I lost my grandma in 2020. I couldn't make it to the funeral.
Sorry.
I know. It's actually a documentary. I'm putting it out there just in case. I don't care if anyone else does it, but I think it's something that should be told, like a docu-series of immigrants sharing their stories about the reality of what pursuing or manifesting the American dream looks like.
It is frustrating, and as someone who grew up in this country, seeing it, because growing up in this country, I had so much America's the greatest, rah rah rah, and all that, and now on the news, we're recording this in October of 2025. ICE agents are going to courts, to immigration courts, and arresting immigrants who are here legally, who are showing up for their court dates, and they're just arresting them without care. It's disgusting. I find it disgusting of what's going on in this country and how immigrants are being treated. And so does that guy.
It's like, I feel like they sold us a dream,
Yeah.
and we showed up here,
Yeah.
and we realized it was a scam.
Yeah.
So now what are you gonna do, And in recent times, a lot of people are talking about Hollywood and
So much.
how the pandemic sort of wrecked the industry and how Hollywood is currently being decentralized. For example, they're saying that Netflix built some kind of soundstage in New Jersey. Marvel just moved out of Atlanta.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they stopped shooting a lot of their projects over there. I heard from someone who is in there. They've now moved to London because they're getting more tax breaks and tax incentives. there's certain things brewing in Scotland. I don't quite know what, but movies, productions are moving to Europe. And of course, Vancouver or Toronto, we're always film, are also film hubs. But then I believe it's an ecosystem with LA in that when the work here is oversaturated, then they get more work. But when we're struggling here, they're struggling too. So what do you do? Speaking of what I was saying earlier, in that I've seen people waste their years waiting on Hollywood. I think that's one of the greatest lessons I've learned on this journey, is that I am in charge.
Yes.
Not an executive that doesn't know what he or she is doing. I am in charge of my life.
And one of the things that I agree with, first off, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And a big transition for me in my career after the pandemic was, I can't wait around to find money or wait to be hired for a line producing gig. I need to take my career into my own hands. And so I started just looking for, applying to everything. And that's partly how the mockumentaries and the directing gigs and writing gigs came about, because I was just opening myself up to everything and actively pursuing it. Even if in some cases I was on a project and I lost a little bit, it was still something that I was doing and I was moving myself forward, And in fact, Ava DuVernay, who, let's call her your spirit guide.
My spirit guide, yeah, she's my spirit guide. Yeah, I love that better, actually.
Awesome. But yeah, I saw she did some talk and she said, I never went to any festivals. I never got in any special film independent programs or anything. I just used the money that I got from publicity. And then when I had extra money, I made some.
Her first feature, yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely. Because if Issa Rae was waiting for the industry to notice her,
Yeah.
I think she'd still be waiting right now.
Oh yeah.
She had to show them that awkward black girls exist. And she did a very good job showcasing that.
Yes.
Sometimes people don't know what they want until they see it.
Yeah. Or they don't know what they don't want.
Or they don't know what they don't want until they see it. That too. But yeah, that's why I think actors definitely have my full respect, just because of how much I feel is outside of their control.
Yes.
Constantly having to memorize lines and take care of your body, and because it's not just the line memorization or looking gorgeous, it really is very technical. I went to acting school as well, although I don't like to call myself an actor because I don't put myself through that.
Okay.
The hurdle of like constantly auditioning, I can't. I don't feel drawn to it. So what I will do sometimes is I'll write a character for myself in one of my projects.
Yes.
Speaking of taking control of your own narrative, I think in 2025, this is the year of the independent filmmaker. And another thing about film school is that a lot of what we were taught back then, because I graduated in 2017, a lot has changed since then in the industry, so some things aren't applicable anymore. Whether it's how you go about distribution, for example. I remember back then they'll tell us not to care about social media, that we should focus on the arts. But
In 2017?
yes.
What the fuck, LA film? What the fuck?
No, what they were trying to say is be artists. Don't try to be, don't look for clouds, basically. Like, separate yourself in that way by going through the film festival route and all of this stuff. But right now, as I'm talking to you, I had a chat with some students currently at New York Film Academy.
Yeah.
And they said that the curriculum has been edited. They have now put in a social media
Good.
course so that actors and filmmakers know how to present themselves online. So it's constantly shifting. And outside of creating my own projects, whether it's Dating in LA, the web series which was mentioned when
Yes.
I think it was the assistant that reached out.
I also particularly love the Chronicles of
Perplexing Times?
Yes.
Are you serious? You like that one?
I did. I mean, it hit close to home. Let me put it that way.
You know, I that project came with a lot, some of which I cannot share. But what I will say is that even if I'm yet to release that project, I think because certain things didn't go the way as smoothly as my other sets have. Because for one, we were filming during COVID. You needed, like, more importantly, I wore too many hats on that shoot. So I created the web series, I wrote it, I directed, I executive produced, and I was one of the lead actors. Of course something was going to, like, unravel.
Right.
Because then my acting suffered in that project. So when I watch it, I cringe so bad. And that's one of the main reasons why I haven't released it. Because even during takes or during those short breaks with between takes, people are coming up to me asking me production related questions, or actors are asking me about adjustments, and there's no one looking out for me on the monitor. No one is directing me. So how can I really... So it was a challenge that I'm glad I put myself through. But
well, let me ask that from that experience where, and I understand there's some things you can't share about that, but what lessons did you learn as far as how to set boundaries for yourself going forward, that you're not going to repeat those same mistakes?
well, firstly, it goes back to what I said earlier. Hire people because they're good at their jobs, not because they look like you or because they're your friends. That's some of what happened there. Secondly, I'd read The 48 Laws of Power. It's one of those books like the Bible. You have to read it over and over again.
Yep.
One of the laws says, never, what's the word? It says something like, learn how to use your enemies because friends are more susceptible to jealousy or something like that. Because your enemy, you already have acknowledged, like, this person is an enemy. So they might work harder to prove a point to you, like to impress you. But I took that law too literally.
Yeah. Oh dear.
I took that law a little too literally.
So you cast or hired someone who was an enemy on that?
Yeah, someone who I knew for a fact, but I just felt like, okay, we work well together. But what I did not take into account is that when you do then have an enemy working in close proximity with you,
Yeah.
they might be looking for loopholes, or the moment a problem arises, they're going to fan that, like, they're going to fan that flame.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what happened. And of course, the pressure of the pandemic and everything. Man, totally one of my best projects. It's a shame it went the way it did. I have made adjustments to the script. It's now titled Strange Times.
Okay, nice.
I will not be acting in it.
Okay.
I've come close to getting it into 2 screenwriting mentorship programs, because that's another way to go about things, whether it's NBC or Warner Brothers or the smaller ones. No luck there, but yeah, that's what happened with Chronicles of Perplexing Times. I hope I shared just about enough to teach people rather than being shady, because that's never my intention. But yes, that project brought me a lot of pain. Like, we got scammed by the chef, for example.
Oh.
Yeah, he just didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
Yes, similar to the lawyer. So, okay, I think this is an important conversation to have, so I won't shy away from the details.
Okay.
Yeah, let me take you back to the pandemic. Think back to the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Terrible, confusing times. Then we had the protest, the Black Lives Matter protest.
Yes.
And me personally, as a Black person in America, as an African, as a person who doesn't see any separation between Black Americans and Africans outside of cultural differences and nuances,
Yeah.
being very aware that if a trigger-happy cop were to come here right now, he's not going to ask me if I'm from Georgia or Mississippi. He's just going to see someone that he wants to shoot and shoot.
Yeah.
And for me, that's why there's no, like, difference. One of the reasons why. So I started to take self-inventory and say to myself, Ebi, in what ways have you upholded white supremacy in your dealings and operations? Because everyone is calling it out in the bigger corporations like Target. But in what ways are you facilitating this system? Okay, and so I'm like, oh wow, a lot of my sets, I think I can have a lot more Black cast and crew members.
Yeah.
So that's where I led from for that particular project, Chronicles of Perplexing Times. So when I was looking for a chef, I'm like, I want a Black chef. So the food was going to be sweet. He just didn't show up.
Oh.
And because I was in that headspace of, oh, my people,
Yeah.
forgetting there's good and bad in everything and everywhere and every race and every gender, I did something I'd never done before. I actually paid him his full payment for the 3 or 4 day shoots. Typically, I would pay like daily,
Yeah.
but he had somehow convinced me, and I'm like, okay. Day one, it was like $800 or something. Day one, it's lunchtime, because what you don't do is joke with the food on sets. You don't order pizza for people.
Yeah.
They're gonna be sleepy.
Yeah.
That's just like bare minimum
Yeah.
set etiquette. Feed your cast and crew. Sometimes people would appreciate it more than money. I'm serious.
Yes.
They're gonna remember the sets where they had good food.
Yeah. And as a line producer, you don't order pizza unless it's the last day.
Unless it's the last day, right? Unless the crew actually says, hey, can we have pizza?
Exactly.
So we're waiting for the food. It doesn't show up. I text him, and he's like, oh, sorry, I had an accident. Sends me a photo of a scratch on his car, literally just a small scratch.
Wow.
And Venmos me $150 out of the $800 I gave him, and is like, this is all I can do for now. Thankfully, I made a transfer via Venmo, so I reported the scam
Yeah.
to my bank, and they gave me back my money. But you see, it's just been constant lessons. But when I'm really hard on myself is when I repeat a mistake that I should have already learned a long time ago.
So I agree 100%. I also really enjoy the 48 Laws of Power. I think I've listened to it 2 or 3 times myself.
Oh, wow.
Even though some of the rules are definitely a bit shady. Like I was listening to it, and about halfway through, he starts with create a cult of personality, and I was like, oh, this book took a hard right. But I do agree with you. And in terms of like one of the rules, I forget what exactly is the verbiage, but it's like hire people that you know, that have a track record. And like that's one of the advantages of going to a film school, because while there's a lot of debate among film students whether they should or shouldn't go to film school, if it's actually worth it, versus going into another field and banking money, or potentially just going directly into the industry. There is a lot of value in being part of a community. And my favorite times at both the film schools I went to, both Chapman and USC.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's not that impressive, because I went to Chapman for 2 years and I transferred to USC and graduated. So I didn't get like a master's degree like you did.
Still impressive.
Thank you. But one of my favorite components of that was the student production office. You go there and they would have books of actors, and they would have books of vendors and binders of people that had a track record. And you could ask your colleagues, hey, have you worked with a chef who you had good experience with? Do you have a stunt coordinator that you have good experience with? And getting that kind of credentials and recommendations from people who have a track record is so important. And then also regarding, I also agree 100% with the idea of decolonizing the film set. Because actually, I've had a bunch of things on my laptop, like, if I ever run a studio, this is how I'm going to run it. And then in 2021, I started directing, and I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to wait for a studio, I'm just going to do it myself. And so on Greater and Grander, we rolled out these diversity kind of metrics, which means if we're paying people, like if you can't pay people, whoever you can get.
Yes.
But if you are paying people, then 40% of your speaking cast should be BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people of color, because that is how our society is.
Yeah.
Similarly, extras. 50% of extras should be women. 40% should be BIPOC, unless there's a narrative reason for it.
Right.
And crew. I'm very proud of the diversity on my set, because number one, our AD team always hiring. Whenever I hire an AD team, it's always hiring women, because that puts them more in the trajectory of being able to direct further up in their career, because they have that extra AD credit under them. And on top of that, my cinematographer Alessandro is multiracial and part Hispanic. Sound mixer Geraldo is Hispanic, and just kind of like making sure that we have a set that reflects reality.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
someone was saying to me recently that this is the worst time to be a white, straight male in the industry because they're not really getting cast in anything, apparently, or they're being replaced. And there's been some situations behind the scenes as well because Hollywood has realized that, okay, we do have to include more underrepresented voices,
Yeah.
but sometimes they do it in a way that is not sustainable in a long term.
Yeah.
It's not about just putting faces there. It's about mentorship, for example. So, yeah,
Building a pipeline.
building up pipelines as opposed to, okay, since this is the thing now, because I'll give you an example. I was talking to a costume designer. He's worked in a lot of movies and whatnot. I don't remember his name, but he was the one who was telling me how a lot of, I think, styling and just costume in general tends to be more female dominated. And so he was saying, particularly now, it's tough for men who are trying to get in. But then he said, sometimes, in recent times,
Yeah.
they, in order for certain studios or production companies to be seen as inclusive,
Yeah.
they then sometimes hire BIPOC, is that if you
BIPOC. Yeah.
BIPOC
Yeah.
people of color that may not necessarily be qualified for the job.
See, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
I haven't seen people getting hired who aren't experienced. Because the fact is, especially now, post-strikes, post-pandemic,
Yeah.
there's so little stuff shooting that everybody who is getting jobs, who's getting work,
They know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he said that as far as I'm not familiar with how things work in the costume design world,
Yeah.
but that's what he was trying to say. I think to his point, he really was trying to say that they are not seeing it as, they're not trying to incorporate it into the system. It's just something that is more of a fad.
Ugh.
But like you said, they should build pipelines. It's about everyone working together.
Exactly.
Imagine everyone goes to the movies and they see someone that looks like them. A disabled person is represented in every movie.
Yeah.
That would mean something.
Yeah. So let me ask then, what does the future of your producing career look like?
Beautiful question. So a couple things. I'm currently working on the pre-production of my feature film. By the grace of God, I don't want to put a date or a month or anything, but I'm aiming to shoot my first feature film in Nigeria next year
Oh, nice.
because I want to do that to challenge myself, and also because I started writing that script in 2016 and it's a story that really needs to be told. I have 2 scripts ready to go that ought to be shot in Nigeria, but I'm starting with the easier one. So that's as far as producing. I'm very passionate about stories that are women-focused, Africa-focused, narratives that challenge the norm in certain ways,
Right.
because we don't realize how much the media really molds our brains. When you think about it, when I see a rat and a squirrel, they kind of look alike. But we've been taught to run away from the rats, me anyways, and then squirrels apparently are cute. It's all about branding, you know? So, I don't know why I use that as a reference, but
I mean, coming from my dad's side is Italian, so I understand how you deal with rats.
yeah, exactly. No wonder. You're funny. That's hilarious. Like, oh yeah, we really don't like rats. Oh my God, this is so funny. Oh, you just went to The Godfather. That's one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Oh,
The
yes.
Godfather. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So as far as producing, I don't want to be a Hollywood filmmaker. I want to be a global filmmaker.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm in Hollywood to make it here as well, to leave my footprints. There's going to be a stamp here. But I have a bachelor's in journalism, and many times I feel like I abandoned that side of myself. I still love journalism, but it was when I was studying at the University of Lincoln, actively pursuing a bachelor's in journalism. I did internships at like the BBC radio, for example, or I worked with my school, my university's newspapers. So I was in that world of news media, and I noticed very quickly that bad news does sell. People will mostly stop for bad news than they would if it's good news. I didn't want to be in that sort of environment, and I just felt like I could have a stronger impact in the world through fiction as opposed to reporting the daily news, because even if I'm telling a sad story, I can still leave room for hope.
Yes.
That being said, I haven't completely abandoned that side of myself, because journalism and film can coexist, and that's why documentaries exist. It's always been a big dream of mine to see every single country on the continent of Africa.
Oh, wow.
So at some point, perhaps do some kind of a tour, we'll call it, just going around showcasing and highlighting our cultures, making comparisons between certain countries, and then the differences as well in terms of the foods we eat. What are some differences between Northern Africa and Western Africa? Telling stories that make a change. And at this point, of course, the storytelling is the heart and the producing is the lungs. But creating an ecosystem that unifies my mission, which is to bring the world together, to heal the world as well. That's what I'm passionate about, whether I'm the one who writes these stories or not. Of course, I'm not in a position right now to give out funds to other people whose stories I may be passionate about or I may like. I have to invest in myself right now. But in the future, that's another thing I would love to look into as well, how I can help certain people, giving out grants or just giving people opportunities.
Yeah, that's wonderful. If you could go back to your younger self in Nigeria and give yourself any advice, what would it be?
Wow. Honestly, oh my God, and with the music playing in the background, it's making me emotional. Honestly, big Abi would say to younger Abi, I see you. Because often as a child, I didn't always feel seen. I felt seen at home. But perhaps I would say to my younger self, I see and understand you. You can see someone and still misunderstand them.
Right.
I'll give you an example why I say that. In high school in Nigeria, I went to boarding school. They put us into 4 groups.
Right.
You were either in the L class, which meant you were a leader. You were in the E class, which meant you were excellent. Or you were in the A class, which meant you were average. Or you were in the D class, which meant you were dumb. I'm serious.
Lead?
Yes, that was, so LEAD. So, someone calls up to you, what class are you in? A class. People really had a chip on their shoulder for being in the L or E's because the teachers projected them to be the ones who were going to succeed.
Tracking, yeah.
Yeah.
This is tracking.
Looking back, I was an average. And looking back, majority of the people that were in average or dumb were artists. But there wasn't an outlet. It wasn't like the United States where you have art schools where 8 a.m. you have math.
Yeah.
Second period you have theater. It wasn't like that. And so for the longest time it was, what are my options? I don't have much options. I know innately I'm supposed to be a storyteller. I don't have these skills yet. Okay, what do? I love music. That's my first love, by the way, music. What can I do? Okay, the closest thing to making my parents proud will be law. It seems, just constant. I would say to younger Abi, I see you and I understand you. Believe in yourself and you can fly.
That's lovely.
And that is Season 3, Episode 22 of the Producers Lounge podcast. Thank you to my guest, Ebi Ikuku, for joining us. You can find out more about her by checking out the show notes and subscribing to our YouTube channel at Greater Grander. Our intro and outro music today was Faster Does It by Kevin MacLeod. Our episode still image is by Ricardo Tomas on Greater and Grander. We'd love to hear from you, and you can check out this week's accompanying article on greaterandgrander.com entitled 11 Essential Resources to Create Compelling Media That Stands Out and Masters Story Architecture for Visual Branding. Link in the show notes. You can stay up to date by following us on YouTube and social media at the handle Greater Grander, all one word. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube or wherever fine podcasts are found. And also, if you like what we do, Share this podcast with a friend who you think will enjoy it. Join us next week for more cocktails and questions, and until then, keep producing dreams.